Hi, welcome to another Minnesota Banking Minute. Today we are joined by Alyssa Pugh from Conetrix to talk about the newly released third-party risk management guidance. Alyssa, could you give me a status update on what's been happening in the banking industry related to third-party risk management?
I sure can. It has been an exciting few years, and not just for third-party risk management, but in that area. Last year, we saw the third-party risk management guidance get updated. So the FDIC, OCC, and Federal Reserve all got together and published this new guidance that was a replacement for all of their existing key third-party risk management guidance. So it was really exciting to get to see that, and they've released a new resource even since then that is designed specifically for community banks. So we're seeing lots of wisdom, lots of advice, lots of suggestions from the banking agencies on this topic. And I think the reason for that is because we continue to get more involved with third parties, and we keep seeing more and more incidents. So because of that, we're seeing more and more regulatory emphasis there. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay. So it seems like everyone is talking about AI, everyone's talking about fintechs. How are these emerging technologies shaping this conversation about vendor management?
So I think that as we see a lot of emerging technologies, you could also list like digital assets in there. As we're seeing all of this change in the industry, it really requires some flexibility of us. And that's kind of one of the things we saw in that guidance was it's not a one size fits all thing. You can't just treat due diligence and vendor management like a list of checkboxes. You kind of have to adapt based on the risks that you're being faced with. So take AI, for example. It's a new area. We don't really know all of the things involved with it. And so we're starting to see some standard vendor management things pop up. For example, we're seeing lots of emphasis on good, strong contracts with vendors who use AI in their services, non-disclosure agreements, those kinds of things. We're also seeing lots of emphasis be put on privacy policies. So what are those vendors allowed to do with the data that you give to them? And then I'll also say we're hearing that people are requesting things like AI accountability and transparency reports. So how do you use our data? What does it mean? How do you give us answers? All of that. The rest of it is really interesting because we use AI kind of like an umbrella term, but it can mean a lot of different things. So you would do different due diligence on a vendor who's using AI in like a chat bot than you would from a vendor who's using AI to like make home loan appraisal decisions, you know? So your due diligence will change based on what the service being provided is, and how important it is to your bank.
It's a lot to think about.
It
So, what
really
would
is.
you recommend banks do to manage these risks while still being in compliance with regulatory expectations?
So I heard a great quote once upon a time, and I'm probably going to mess it up, but I'm going to try. Basically, the idea was if you are aiming for compliance, you've already kind of missed the mark because it's such a changing world, especially in vendor management. But if you are aiming for true risk management, if you are looking to identify and mitigate those risks, you're probably going to be in compliance too. So that being said, of course, there's compliance things we need to do. So I would say go ahead and find some resources on what that new guidance says, see the ideas that it's presenting, and make sure that your policies and procedures kind of align with those. Make sure that you've got your bases covered there. But I would also say from the risk management side of things, it's really important to ask our vendors good, tough questions. You know, if there's something that's not very clear to you, go ahead and dig in a little bit, see if you can get more information or more resources from them. And then I'd also say get connected with your peers, get connected with your banking associations, get connected with people who can help you in this journey.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely.
something we're all learning and navigating together. So it's definitely something to not do alone.
Exactly. And it's not going to go away
It
ever.
certainly
So
isn't.
wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Alyssa. You've given us a lot to think about and some really good tips this morning. And thank you for joining us for another Minnesota Banking Minute. If you have any questions or would like further information, please contact Conetrix. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.